My name is Becca and I'm an abstract artist in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The style of art I enjoy and currently work in is abstract art, specifically the abstract expressionism form. What made me want to become an artist was just the fact that I wanted art on my walls when my kids were little. So my daughter Nora was a baby and I wanted to decorate her nursery. So I started making art on her walls, and then I thought I could make art for the rest of our house, and then it just rolled on from there. But really I was an artist and made art from the time I was a kid, and then eventually transitioned into painting and fell in love with the form of abstract painting probably about 7 years ago. And have just loved that and been committed to that form of art since. Abstract expressionism is a form of abstraction that is typically non-objective. It's not an abstracted landscape, or it's not an abstracted floral or figure or anything. What's interesting about that to me is that it allows the viewer to make their own interpretations and find their own meaning if they want in a painting, or even just enjoy it for what it is. It almost can be compared to like how you enjoy a symphony just for the sound of the music. Abstract expressionism or non-objective abstraction can be enjoyed just for the art itself. My artistic role models started out with basically other women who were painting and making careers out of being a full-time artist as moms. So I started finding different women on social media really back probably 8 or 10 years ago. The more I've gotten into art and been learning about art history, I'm currently really inspired by the abstract expressionist women of the 1950s. So specifically like Helen Frankenthaler, Lee Krasner, those women and their careers and the way they express themselves through painting is really inspiring to me. I feel like what inspires my art is truly just art theory. So when you think about color, line, shape, texture, movement, form, those kinds of things, when you can put all those things together in a way that creates a composition that looks interesting and has energy and brings an element into a room that is unique and wouldn't be there without that piece of art. My favorite pieces of art are several. It's kind of like choosing your favorite child. It's hard to pick one. You don't want to pick one really, but I have several favorites, like some personal favorites that I don't ever want to sell, or at least not yet. I have a couple of pieces that I have sold that are favorites. So I sold recently the largest oil painting that I've ever done sold, and that's one of my favorites. It was called To Meet and Be Met. Another favorite painting I've made that I'm keeping in my personal collection is a collage form painting that I think is a good example of why it's fun to paint abstract. There's so much play involved. I think that's where it all started for me. Creating art as a form of play and a form of enjoyment. This painting is one where I played with collage and I played with paint that was on my palette that had dried, and I peeled it off the palette and glued it on to the canvas. When a piece that I'm working on doesn't turn out the way I want, the nice thing about painting with oil and acrylic is that you can keep adding layers on top. So if I'm working on a piece and it's just not working, the colors aren't working, the composition isn't working, I can wait for it to dry and add a whole other layer. The only problem is if I have a deadline and I'm not liking it, then I can get into a little stressful situation then. But the beauty and the freedom of making abstract art is really you can keep adding to it, and there is a lot of flexibility and freedom there.